What's up, YouTube? Duelist League here, using my friend Noah's equipment.
Hey.
And I have a hero deck for you today. It's going to be my last deck profile until Escarado comes out. But let's start. Okay. Stratos. To Stratos. Everyone knows what a Stratos does. It's needed in every hero deck. It's basic.
Yeah, I'm right.
Got a Neos. It's kind of my own personal choice to run this. One of my favorite cards is Neos Knight. And it's just a beat stick. I can use it with Voltic and stuff, and it's kind of self-explanatory a little bit. Ice Edge, very, very good card. Attacks direct, destroys back row, and it also lets you discard. So it's pretty decent. Prisma, I use it for like Neos and the Ocean and Woodsman for my deck. And it's a good way to like thin out the deck, and it's also a light attribute monster, so I can fuse with. Heat, the only fire attribute monster I run in this deck, gets out my Nova Master, and it gains 200 for every elemental hero I control. Woodsman, the only earth attribute monster, well, the only earth hero I run, and it's pretty much all I use for is fusion material, that and Prisma target. And we got 3 Voltic. When giving battle damage, it special summons a monster that's banished from play that has hero in its name. It's also a light attribute. Run 3 of them. Like if you banish 2, you can summon Voltic. If that one gives damage, you can special summon another. Attack gives damage. Special summon another. Attack gives damage. Special summon Neos that's banished from play. 2 hero Ocean. Water attribute monster. 1500 attack and 1200 defense. It's a pretty good beat stick. Water attribute for absolute 0. Kind of self-explanatory as well. 3 Alias. It's Alias, 1900 beat stick. Everyone knows what it does. And then we have Snowman Eater, Card Trooper, and Thunder King Ryo. I was running out of ideas for the deck, and I've been running this deck for quite some time. And this is just stuff that helps fill it out, and extra stuff that helps you do what you need to do. Snowman Eater destroys a monster. It's obvious. Trooper, like helps you mill from the deck, and then it lets you discard it. It lets you just draw a card when it's destroyed, which is what I use it for. And then Thunder King, it's kind of obvious why I would use it, and that pretty much sums up for all the monsters. Now we're into spells. Alright, for stars we got 2 Super Polymerization. It's basic, lets you fuse from the opponent's field, and then some. Got Future Fusion. I target this mostly with Nova Master in mind. I could also use it for Neos Knight and anything else, but I never ever summon Terra Firma. Never, ever, ever, ever summon Terra Firma. 3 Miracle Fusion, fuses from the grave. It's almost never a dead card, because you're always going to have a monster in your graveyard, or, if nothing else, you can at least banish monsters with Miracle Fusion and just give Shining more power. Just kind of basic for a Hero Gate deck. And yes, it is Hero Gate, 3 Fusion Gate, and while we're at it, 2 Terraforming. Terraforming is just search power to get Fusion Gate to the hand, and the Fusion Gate just fuses monsters from your field or the hand to the grave, to the banish zone, and it gives Shining more attack points, which is what this deck's mostly about. And then lastly, search power, or more search power, we have 3 E-Call, Rhoda, and Pot of Duality. Pot of Duality does slow this deck down sometimes, but if you draw it in your beginning hand, and if you use it, and like if you reveal a Super Poly, then you just set the Super Poly, and then summon a hero, and then use that Super Poly later on. Most of this deck is search power. E-Call can be any elemental hero, so I don't really count it as a spell card. Rhoda is almost the same thing as E-Call, and then there's Pot of Duality, which just slows things down, but it's still pretty good. And then traps, not much of them. 2 Compulse, 1 Mirror Force, Magic Drain because it's fun, Solemn Judgment, it does help for the most part. Hero Blast, another reason why I run Neos, because it stops a lot of stuff. And then last but not least, Starlight Road.
A lot of singular cards in there, not too many doubles or anything.
Yeah, except for Compulse. I'd rather send a monster to the hand than send it to the grave, which is why I don't run Solemn Warning. I do run Solemn Judgment.
Well, in what instance would sending to the hand be better, would you think?
If my opponent has like Stardust or Red Nova, basically anything from the extra deck, 'cause it's gonna take time to resummon it, unless they have everything they need. And speaking of extra deck, we have 3 Elemental Hero The Shining, and it gains 300 for every banished hero, which is pretty good. And then when it leaves the field, when it's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 2 of your banished heroes from your banished zone to your hand. It's pretty good. 3 of my personal favorite, Elemental Hero Absolute Zero. 2500 beater, but when it leaves the field in any way, shape, or form, it destroys all monsters your opponent controls. And that it also, another effect is that it gains 500 attack per water monster on the field. A lot of people don't recognize that. A lot of people don't know about it. And then we have 3 Great Tornado, basically a Gale of the Whirlwind. It cuts the attack of every monster your opponent controls in half, and then it just stays that way. It weakens them really well. 2 of another one of my personal favorites, Elemental Hero Nova Master. I don't need it to win, but it just gives a good draw strategy. And if I do summon it using the heat in my deck, and if this is sent to the grave, I can just Miracle Fuse for my second one, in case anyone's confused about that. 1 Elemental Hero Gaia. I don't usually summon or play around with Earth-type monsters a lot, but when I do, I make sure it's Gaia. I have Gaia. It cuts the attack of my opponent's monster in half, gains it as its own till the end phase, and no matter what, if it's using that effect and I attack over the monster cut in half, then it's always going to give 22. 22 is decent damage. Another one of my personal favorites, Neos Knight. It can attack twice. It gains half the attack of the other warrior-type monsters that fuse with Neos. The only bad thing is that it doesn't give damage, but it's still a pretty good beat stick. Terra Firma, never ever summon it, but I use it for Prisma's effect. Draco Equiste is another target I use for Super Poly, and Stardust Dragon for Starlight Road. And that's basically my extra deck. And like I said, this is only a temporary deck until Escarado comes out, and this is gonna be my last deck profile for Heroes until Escarado comes out. Alright, please give me comments, rate, subscribe, and that's it. How do I shut this off?
Oh, just press this button here. You turn off?
Yeah.
Sure.
No.
Nope, start recording. Sorry about this, guys.